and welcome to our show, Radhika Talks. Today, we talk to a very phenomenal lady, educator, lecturer, lead facilitator, and former director of the School for Legal Practice. Now, a judge of the High Court of South Africa, Madam Justice Mohini Moodley. Welcome to our show, Radhika Talks.
Thank you very much. I feel honored to be here today.
Thank you for that. Now, I've seen your CV, and it looks like a grocery list of accomplishments.
So I hope it's a little bit more useful than that.
I'm sure it is, but I'm so impressed. I know you have accomplished quite a bit in your career, but even I have to admit, I was really gobsmacked when I saw the list of accomplishments. So well done to you.
Thank you.
I think a lot of the accolades that you've achieved, are not acknowledged because you keep it so quiet. But, you've obviously accomplished quite a bit. Now, I want to know what for you is the single most, in your mind, the best accomplishment for you.
Maybe surprising, but I think it was actually when I became a mother. And that's in my personal career. But if you're talking about my professional career, I think there were a number of highlights. Being appointed junior lecturer in the Department of English at the old University of Durban, Westville, at a time when it was very difficult to make the bridge between student and professional in the academic world. That was obviously the first step, I think, in my career. Subsequently, being admitted as an attorney, which was the second step in my professional career. And finally, now the appointment to the High Court.
And you've also been the chairperson of the Chatsworth Legal Circle. And I have to say, I was very fortunate enough to serve as your secretary then. So tell us about your time in Chatsworth as an attorney, very briefly.
Well, the Chatsworth Legal Circle was a voluntary association of attorneys. And it was a very useful communication tool. It assisted the attorneys in their professional progress because we ran workshops, particularly on new pieces of legislation like the Domestic Violence Act. I was very proud of that particular workshop. It was an essential piece of legislation, and I think the Legal Circle then did a wonderful piece of work. It was the first organization that actually had a workshop where the members of the various stakeholders were invited to take place, invited to participate rather. So I think that was one of the highlights. And of course, it also assisted the community because the Legal Circle ran a number of projects in which they volunteered their services to the community and the Chatsworth community. Many members of the Chatsworth community could ill afford to pay for legal services. So I think the Legal Circle served a very useful purpose. It also was an empowering tool for people like us because we assumed leadership positions. Yeah.
And the circle and the practitioners of Chatsworth were really ecstatic when you were appointed to the bench as well. They really celebrated your appointment. So
yes, I know. I felt very honored, of course. Yes, it was. But I'm grateful to the Chatsworth Legal Circle because I think it was an essential part of my professional development.
And now, being in the profession that you are, I'm sure you've already, undergone many challenges, having had to juggle motherhood and, your aspirations in your career. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced.
I don't think it's just the issue of being a mother, but generally just being a woman in the profession. The legal profession was totally patriarchal at one stage. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just the legislation, it was the practitioners as well. But fortunately, I think we have come a long way. Women no longer are prepared to sit back and allow the profession to overtake them. I think that's absolutely important. They have a voice, they make use of the educational facilities, the training facilities, and have really come into their own. And I think if you demand that kind of empowerment and you demand the training and you demand the education and avail yourself of what is out there for you, you will in fact accomplish a lot. And that is what is happening. The legal profession has come a long way. I think it has acknowledges that women play an essential role in the practice of law. Or should I say, there are many more hurdles to cover in many ways, but I do think that a great deal of progress has been made. And it also depends on whether you're an attorney or an advocate. I do think that young counsel today are generally require quite a lot of help before they can establish themselves. We do need good female counsel at the bar.
And do you think our sisters are helping and giving support to each other as we should? Do you think that we are getting sufficient support in order for us to reach our goals and aspirations?
I would like to think so. I think whenever I've been in a forum where women have spoken about empowerment, there's always discussion of how we should support each other and not pull each other down.
Yes.
Because women can actually be the worst critics of another woman. And that can actually be, well, not demeaning, but it can be very discouraging. Because I think it's important to encourage another woman to whatever level she aspires and whatever she has actually achieved. Rather than attempting to outdo her in any way, but to rather build on what she has achieved, learn from it, and then try to improve yourself. So I think women do acknowledge it, and I think it's important to get that kind of support. I mean, I loved everything that you said about me right now. It's important to actually feel that somebody appreciates what you have done, because quite often we don't actually appreciate what we have done or what we have put out there or what contribution we make. We see it as something that we want to do, but what the effect of it is, you can't always appreciate.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly that, you know, what's meant for you in this lifetime will come to you no matter what, and there's no harm in lending a helping hand to anybody for that matter, because I don't think we have any control for what's meant for them, you know, in this lifetime. It's all in God's hand. Well, that's the way I feel. But stemming from that, can we then talk about whether you have sufficient support from your male counterparts? I mean, whether it was as an attorney or now as, you know, judge of the High Court. Can you say something about support from males?
I think a lot depends on your individual attitude. Firstly, if you show respect, I think you command respect. The manner in which you carry yourself with dignity and confidence, and that automatically commands respect. I personally entered the legal profession when I was a lot older. You did mention that I lectured initially. So by the time I got into the profession, I was in my early 30s. So I had the maturity and the life experience and a professional career behind me that enabled me to communicate with people in the profession, perhaps on a more mature level, in a more confident way. So I personally didn't really experience any serious prejudice in the legal profession. I find that even now I am able to communicate freely with my colleagues. They have been extremely supportive. I had a lot of help from the senior judges when I was appointed. So I'm very happy with the kind of support that I've had on a professional level.
I have some very quick questions for you, talking about culture and our heritage. Hollywood or Collywood, which is your favorite?
It has to be Collywood.
Tom Cruise or Surya?
Surya anytime. He's doing a wonderful job with these productions now.
And payaso or cheesecake?
Depends on the mood and the rest of the menu.
You know, Judge Woodley, you really have been such a sport. We've had such a great time having you here on our show. But we just want to know, before we end off, where can we see Judge Moodley in 5 years' time?
I would like to say on a cruise ship. Unfortunately, I think my professional career will demand that I remain behind. I would like to make a difference. I am where I am because I want to make a difference. I think the South African community is in a very important place as far as our legal development is concerned. And I'd like to believe that I can make a contribution, a very positive contribution and a constructive contribution. Whether it will still be at the High Court or whether it will be at any other court, I'm not certain. My professional career has taken a direction that I never expected to 10 years ago. So perhaps my professional career will lead me somewhere else. But if I do retire from the bench as such, perhaps I'll get involved in training again, because I think there's a lot of scope for aspirant judges, and perhaps I can assist there. So maybe 5 years.
And I'm certain that you will add value to any aspect that you take up, because that is in your nature. You give off your best.
Thank you.
But on a final note, what advice do you have for women out there that are facing challenges, whether it's related to family, career, or finances? What advice in 2-3 simple words?
Well, I think firstly is knowledge. Acquire knowledge of what you are, what you want, and how you're going to achieve it. And then the skills. That's empowerment.
Thank you. That's amazing. We want to thank you from the team at Radhika Talks. Your chat today has been such a highlight for us. You are an inspiration to many women, and yes, you may not hear every one of them give you the accolade, but take it from somebody who's been observing you and who's tried to emulate some of your conduct, and somebody who's seen you really aspire to great heights. You have done a sterling job of everything. Do not doubt your accomplishments for any 1 second. So we salute you, like many other women that have come here, all our guests, but we salute you for all your accomplishments and your contribution to the empowerment of women. Thank you so much from Educator.